Okay.
Yeah, go to slideshow.
Yes.
You just click the
Are you listening
slideshow.
me well?
Yes, listening, but you
Yes.
or you click the slideshow.
Yeah. Are you listening me well?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer of the field school for giving me this chance to present the conflict and confrontations treating the mobile the pastoralist. Dr. Ayman Balla Mustafa, Associate Professor, Nutrition Department, Faculty of Health Science, Misurata University. Yes, the outline, the background is the background about the mobility pastoralist among the worldwide, and then the overview of the mobility pastoralist focusing in uh, focusing in the Africa. And then we have many cases study about the mobile pastoralist and the pastoralist system in Sudan and some areas around. Background, uh, mobility pastoralist communities who depend on extensive livestock production, mainly cattle, the camel, sheep, and the goats, as there is the most important, the sources of the livestock, the food security, nutrition, income, and well-being. The pastoral livestock production involved the varied degrees of the seasonal movement to access the natural resource and commonly the managed or open access system. The pastoral the pastoralism play important role in the national, regional, world economies. It is supplied the million of animals to the both domestic and international market through the substantial livestock trade network that link the local and cross borders the market to the neighboring the countries and international markets. The mobility pastoralists, the exploiting the animal feed resources along the different ecological zone to present flexible response to dry and increase the variable environment. It is always the pastoral here to use the driest area during the wet season and the more humid area during the dry season. The mobility also that allow the pastoralists to mitigate the effect of unforeseen events such as disease and outbreak. And these strategies allow the pastoralists to survive in the different environmental and create the economic value out of otherwise fragile ecosystem. Therefore, the constraint on the pastoral, the mobility such as the changes in the land use, tenure, regulation, the borders can undermine the pastoral system. Then the adaptability and the mobility. Let us to know about how to connection between the mobility and adaptability of the pastoralist. The adaptability and the mobility of the pastoralist is the relation to the resources, the variability, have been undermined by the factors include the climate changes, the environmental degradation, and the pressure to increase agricultural production to feed rapid growing population. The low mean rainfall of the late 20th century combined with the techno-created approach to development has increasingly marginalized the traditional approaches to resources management and the food security. So the expansion of the cultivation into the marginal area has led to deterioration of land resources, extended drought, triggered famine, and this is a factor that resulted in rapid changes in the land use and the land control and comparison of the pastoralist livelihood space. As a result of the social conflict that between the agriculturists and the pastoralists have increased, along with the problem associated with overgrazing. Okay, and then that land resources deterioration by the long time. This is the changes have led the many pastoralists to living in the world of an insecurity and in war and in famine and also in drought. The pastoralists and the food security, they have a big relation because the pastoral area are increasingly become vulnerable to the food insecurity and the famine. Why? This region become heavily dependent on external the food. And many of these areas are experiencing the high rate of the wide-scale global acute malnutrition, spreading these cases among the children under the 5 years, and also this is spreading among relevance among the elders. In addition, the children in the pastoral areas sitting are vulnerable to the seasonal malnutrition, especially during the lean season, because the lean season that restrict the movement of the pastoralists and just the pastoralists living on the local food. That means to restrict the movement of the pastoralists to the town, to the urban, to brought the food. This is therefore in this lean season, that means they have the relevant of the malnutrition moreover. The challenges of the pastoralists, the challenges of the pastoralists, the negative perception about the pastoralism. Because the pastoralism that in the urban area refuse, because this means the community illiterated, uneducated, and they have the relevance of poverty and the relevance of the famine and so on. Insecure land use due to the increased competing in interest of the pastoralist land. So for example, extractive industry, population growth, agriculture expansion. Extreme weather events that link to the climate changes, leading to the drought, leading to the flood, leading to disease outbreak and the plant cultivation. Then restriction on mobility, especially in transboundary mobility. And adverse policies and exclusion from the decision-making process. That means the pastoral community, the just living in the areas that isolated from the decision-making area. Continued under the investment and the lack of adequate data about the pastoralists, because it's very difficult to find that adequate data about the pastoral population, about the relevance of the disease among the pastoralists, and so on. And the lack of adapted the social service in the pastoral area. The pastoralism and ecological interaction, they have, especially in the dry arid ecosystem, you will find that lack of water and seasonality of rainfall, because the rainfall that they have a the level of the rainfall and a season of the rainfall and the rainfall months from area to area. Therefore, that affect on the mobility pastoralists to migrate or to go from area to another. The hot and the temperature degree also that affected the mobility, pastoralists, and livestock and the wildlife interface. Because they're very serious, the pastoralist in the wildlife area. Also, the relevant of the pests and the flies in equatorial, in the heavy, in the wet areas. That means the livestock, the pastoralists, they have a suffer more from the pests and the flies in the wet areas. A natural resource, the highly limited agriculture production, and almost exclusive use by the extensive pastoral livestock system, and the forest products such as the gum arabic, and also the mining. This is the natural result of effect on the pastoralist. The demography, you'll find that in the pastoral community, the low population density, and they also that they have a limited governance and the conflict on the resources, conflict on the water, conflict on the grasses, conflict on the land, and also that access to education is very difficult, access to health service very difficult, and also that veterinary service. Development of the pastoralists, that means the community engaged. If you look for the development of the pastoralists, you have the community engaged and the pastoralist association and self-help frameworks. Also, decentralized environmental management with an active participation of the pastoralist stakeholders in the policy making. Then, to maintain mobility in the socially and ecologically acceptable form. And then to promote global partnership. That means the World Initiative for Sustainable Pastoralists, one of the initiatives that lead to the development of the pastoralism. Development veterinary assistance with government of the government and private sectors involvement. Then the pastoral area are an indispensable part of the future land use. It will be that necessary to rethink along local governance and the social service, include the animal and human health, education, transport, environmental management, and the security. And then improve a social service, such as the human and animal health service. And then a local adapted governance and integrated adaptive management will pave the way for the sustainable use of the pastoral areas, include and export markets. Pastoralism in Africa. The pastoralism in Africa is viable and sustainable livelihood system in dryland areas of Africa. It is the well adapted to manage an uncertainty and risk of this area. Moreover, the pastoralism that makes the major contribution to maintaining the health of the ecosystem because it is rational, adaptable production system, uniquely resilient to the climatic variabilities of the dry land. In the recent decades, the pastoralism is facing ever increasing challenges in the form of increasing the variables and unpredictable the climate, rising insecurity, violence, increase the risk of the animal zoonotic disease, and increase insecure land right and natural resource management. These changes are taking place in context for neglect and exclusion. Despite the weakening capacity of the pastoral, the communities, they are highly resilient with impressive capacity to sustain in dynamic social economic space of dry land. They make enormous contribution to the social, to environmental, and to economic well-being at the regional, national, and local levels. There is a critical need to strengthen the capacity of the pastoralism to operate in more sustainable pathways. Let us to take about some cases study from Sudan, and we focus mostly on the camel pastoralists in Sudan, either in Eastern Sudan or Western Sudan. Traditional nomadic system. This system is dominant in geographical zone between 13 north to 16 north, northern parts of the camel plate. We can show the camel plates, because the camel plates, that mean the camel rearing within a very specific area in Sudan, that between the limited boundaries. This is a typical practice by the Kababish tribe in the northern Kordofan. Is said the camel herders continuously on the move in response to the availability of the grazing and the water supplies. The mobile pastoral of the camel is under pressure because the multiple changes in the production environment, increasing the human population, that means pressure on the pastoral grazing areas, and economic implication resulting that from disease, spreading of disease, and lack of veterinary service in the areas, and some factors that adversely affect the traditional camel production. Look to this camel plate in Sudan. You'll find the camel that moving, the mobile pastoral, the camel mobile pastoralists that within this boundaries, the red color, because this is the plate of the camel in Sudan. Additionally, the reproductive performance is low in camel, because due to the late phase maturation, maybe that the camel stay about the 30 months interval between the calving. Also that the maturity rate in the camel very high, and then long maturation interval, as we say, and the high calf mortality rate due to the sudden death, very relevant among the camel calf, especially in the pastoral area. But we have this, the ratio is very low or very little in the camel farming system. Improvement of the reproductive performance and reduction of the animal loss by the management measures that are applicable to mobile system appear to offer possibility of increased camel productivity and capacity to support increasing human population. Transhuman or a semi-nomadic system. How do we say? We have many systems of transhuman, many systems of the pastoral community in Sudan, transhuman, semi-nomadic system, a nomadic system, a mobile pastoralist. In the Eastern Sudan and southern region of the camel blades in Sudan is practiced by the semi-nomadic tribe. In this system, a degree of the settlement is experienced during the rainy season, where rain agriculture or agriculture mechanization is practiced for stable food production, and crop residuals provide the feed supplement or alternative for the camel population in dry season. Because in the dry season, in this area, there is no natural pasture. That means the camel is not grazing or the crop residuals from the due to the mechanical agriculture. In Eastern Sudan practice, transhuman mode of range utilization, they move that from the one area to another, the following 13 migratory routes. For example, Rashaida tribe, they spend rainy season that from July to October around the Kassala city. Kassala city, that means the pastoral community that move from the pastoral community, from pastoral area to the urban area to stay there in the rainy season about the 3 months. Then move about 4 kilometers to spend dry season from March to June in southern phalanx of there is traditional zone in Doka area. Doka area, this that means the pastoral or the pastoralists, they are moving from the north to the south in the dry season. In the rainy season, they are moved from the south to the north in the rainy season, and they become a settle around the urban area, but they have a distance from the urban area, and then they can go back to the south in the dry season. The member of Shukriya, Lahawiyin, Kawahla tribes stay in Butana plains during a rainy season, either to south Gadarif city or to the southeast along Adbara River course. The camel pastoralists have the balanced natural requirement of there is a camel with need to prevent overgrazing and to maintain range productivity. The camel owners can clearly explain in details of the topography and the landscape where they once herded there is the animals, type of the plant growth, species diversity from the one area to another, and the camel preference in the different the season and the plant salinities, or tell from the smell of the milk production when eaten by camel. Also, know which species are useful for the medicinal purpose. That means the communities that depend on the camel milk production in the form of the feeding and medicinal purpose. The constraint facing the camel pastoralists in the Eastern Sudan, we have many constraints facing the pastoralists and the camel owners in the Eastern Sudan. In the case study, the animal herders in the Sudan are agro-pastoralists. Just the pastoralists in the Eastern Sudan, leading the nomadic life combined with the minor crop production activities, just for about the 4 months of the year. The camel pastoralists are always moving over a large area in searching for the food and the water of the camel. During their continuous transhumance, the camel are affected by the many production limited factors. such as disease, range, and the pastoral limitation. That means the extension of the agriculture mechanization in the pastoral areas become the marginalized the pastoral areas, and that means the camels that the suffer more from the shortage of the pasture. Also, water scarcity. And the water scarcity, the camel just depend on the rainfall water. And the rainfall water is staying about the 3 to 4 months in Hafir. Hafir, that means this is a small area that uh, for the rainfall water collection for the livestock in the pastoral areas. Also that the high calf mortality are recent security problems, because in Sudan we have the many internal conflicts. This is internal conflicts that affect on the camel production in the pastoral community. The nomadic tribes in the pastoral areas in the eastern Sudan were represented by the Lahawin, Rufa'in tribes, and their dwelling types was tent made from the hair wool, but semi-nomadic. Their dwelling types made from the cottage, and that from the tree branches or tree leaves, and also that from the sorghum stick. But sedentary tribes that stay about just about the 3 to 4 months, they are building. There is the dwelling that from the cement and bricks. Shortage in the water is one of that challenges the pastoralists in Sudan, especially the mobile pastoralists. That information that collected from the water cooperation of the Gaddafi state, and the amount of the coverage of drinking water to animal population in the state about the 50%, which means that a lot of effort and fund must be spent to increase drinking water coverage of the livestock in state.
Dr. Ayman, please short. And
the high tax.
Dr.
There are the many complaints among the livestock herders and the owners from the high market taxes and other local government taxes. That mean the taxes from district, taxes from the state, and taxes from the Ministry of the Livestock. These are taxes. Consequently, this may lead to the owner and the herder to abandon the commercial activity concerning the camel business.
And Ayman, please conclude. Please conclude now.
Yes.
Please conclude now.
I'm let listen you well.
Please conclude. Please conclude. You have only few minutes.
Yeah. I think I have problem in the
earphone. Okay. Okay, I will write a message for you. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, please conclude. Please finish in few minutes.
Okay, just 2 minutes.
Yes, few minutes. Yeah, you have few minutes. 3 minutes, 4 minutes maximum.
I think I have problem in the volume. I am not hear you well.
You please finish in 3 minutes. Okay, please 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. The attacks is the shortage in the pastoral and the fooders, the main source of the livestock, the fooders in the areas, the grazing and the browsing provided by the natural vegetation, because the natural pasture in the area increasingly dimensioned by the expansion of the mechanization agriculture farming. And the camel herders are and owners become increasingly dependent on the crop residuals. And the camel owners, and herders are become that increasingly unsatisfied by this situation because of the high price, the crop residuals, and the competition among the city system of the camel productions. Loss due to the theft of the animals, and also that due to the specific season, you have find that many camels that should be that lost by due to by theft, and also that by due to the insecurity and the internal conflict and the or that may lead to the loss of the livestock and the camel. Disease control, this in the Ministry of the Animal Resources, you will find that they targeted the health service toward the cattle, sheep, and toward also the poultry. Why the little service? The little service are targeted toward the camel. That means the camel disease is relevant in the Gaddafi state about the mang about the 29.3%, and trypanosomiasis about 23.3%. Mainly that the camel herders practice traditional treatment of the most diseases, firing, and also that the rearing there is a stick the camel for the proper veterinary treatments to the major veterinary hospital in the town. Low level of education among the mobile pastoralists, the one also of the challenges of the mobile pastoralists, they have high percent of the family mobile who are illiterate because they did not find the chance for education, especially the children. Illiteracy among the pastoralists and the family reach about high percent, that about the 69.7% they illiterated. This is indicate need for the appropriate system for education to suit the camel herders and improve their life standard. The capital investment that mean other constraint the camel production in the Butana Bachelor regions include the lack of enough the capital for the investment, because the pastoral community and the mobile pastoral communities that they're rearing the camel just for the social value, because they inherited the camel from there is a parent, and then that the continue of the camel from generation to generation. The camel, they are not rearing just for the investment. This is a big problems. Also that the labor problem and the marketing shortage. These constraints may indicate the changes from the substantial to the commercialization, where it's already well advanced in the areas, and this will be that expected the labor and the capital constraint would assume more significant in the future if the more pressing the problem of the partial veterinary service, security, and the water shortage receive proper attention. Thank you very much.
Dear Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao.
Yes, sir. Now I can.
Now your time to conclude.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So on this occasion of this training session, transhuman and pastoralism, rangeland governance session. Now 5.3 was very nicely conducted. So before this point, I want to convey my best regards. Thanks. We are very happy. I feel very proud to be honored on this sharing a session, and I will be very grateful to Dr.